Today, we're going to cover some general information about our conference. We'll then go into our competitive events, recognition events, all about state officer candidacy, and then what a voting delegate does.
Let's get started with some general information. First and foremost, VSLC is going to be March 22nd to the 26th. This year, not only is it virtual, but the conference is going to last a week long. This allows you to tune into educational symposiums and other events throughout the week. And these events will be held in the evening, so you don't miss out because of school. The next portion is for the advisors. VSLC registration is due February 1st. And in order to register, all members must be affiliated. Again, registry is done through chapter advisory, so students, you don't have to worry about this part. As for the cost of the conference, students pay $25 and advisors $15. This cost covers the cost of a shirt, pen, and fees needed to make VSLC go on. Once again, everyone gets the money to their advisors, and then the advisor will make the payment towards that address at the bottom. Speaking of t-shirts and pins, pictured below are the official 2020-21 VSLC shirt and pin voted on by you last fall at VFLC, created by the talented Shelby Volmery and Emma Huffman, respectively. We are so excited to wear these at the conference to show our HOSA spirit. Do you like them? Give your reaction in the chat real quick. Awesome. Moving on, the new conference app for VSLC is going to be Event Squid. This is where you can find information about the new state officer candidates, important updates, and other conference-related information. It also allows you to stay connected and interact with other competitors. So make sure to download it once the conference is around the corner. And keep your eye out because we'll be sending out more information on how to use it in the future. And moving on to the last thing I've got for you is a simple reminder to always reference that website, www.missourihosa.org/SLC. On it are VSLC details, step-by-step registration instructions for advisors, and more. Also, everything covered in this presentation can be found on the website, so it's got quite a lot of information. Now, I'm going to hand it over to Burra Bari, who will be talking to you guys about competition.
Thank you, Alex. So again, I'm Burra Bari, and tonight I will be talking to you guys about the competitive events portion of the SLC. So no matter whether our conference is virtual or in person, I'm sure this is the main reason we all attend because we all love some good competition. Missouri HOSA is currently comprised of 2,083 affiliated members. I hope each and every one of you guys are affiliated, as this is a requirement to participate at SLC. We offer 66 competitive and recognition events, and this will all take place 100% virtual, as this is the safest option for us during this time. Okay, let's get back to the basics. So right here, we have our 6 different categories that hold our competitive and recognition events. And I do want to preface that a lot of these events are only one round instead of 2. So just make sure to read your event details and check up on that. So first up, we have our health science events. And these, again, are only one round instead of 2. And they allow you to showcase your skills through exams in events such as medical terminology and pathophysiology. And then next up, we have our health profession events. And then again, these allow you to showcase your clinical skills in the workplace, such as sports science or sports medicine. And then next up, we have our emergency preparedness events. And these are similar to our health profession events, but they are more based on the emergency EMT kind of thing. So CERT skills and public health and EMT would be those kind of events. And then next up, we have our leadership events. And this allows you to showcase your leadership skills through real life situations. So events like healthy lifestyle and interviewing skills would be composed of those. And then we have our teamwork events, which are group events, and they require collaboration and presentation. And so you can participate in things like HOSA or medical debate. And finally, we have our recognition events, which allow you to showcase your personal service and or your local chapter service in events such as HOSA happenings and your HOSA service project. Okay, so here are 3 questions that you need to ask yourself when considering which event you're going to take place, which you're going to participate in. And those are which events are live, which events have transitioned to tests only, and which events use Tallow. So the first question is here, it's answered, and there are 4 live events that are going to utilize Zoom, and those are creative problem solving, interviewing skills, job seeking skills, and parliamentary procedure. Now here's a quick breakdown of which events use Tallow, which events are test only, and which events are live. So our Tallow events are going to be events such as community awareness, healthy lifestyle, HOSA happenings, and more. Your test only events, which are only going to be 1 round, include behavioral health, CERT skills, and clinical nursing. And then we have a couple of our 2-round events, and there's only 2 of those, and that's creative problem solving and parliamentary procedure. And finally, again, we have listed a couple of our live events, such as interviewing skills and job seeking skills. Tallow, from HOSA happenings to healthy lifestyle, multiple competitive and recognition events do require you to submit on Tallow, and it's very multifaceted as you can also use it for recruitment and scholarships. Now here is a quick little diagram about how you find all you need to know on competition. You're first going to go to the Missouri HOSA website, missourihosa.org, and you're going to go to the top of the screen where there's a red bar. Scroll all the way over to the right side to the More tab. You're going to hover over that and go to the Competitive Events tab section, and then you're going to go to the left and you'll see SLC. Once you click on that, it'll take you to the SLC page, where you'll see like 3 blue links. And the first one is going to go over the general information on SLC, such as registration, competitive events, and so on and so forth. And then your last one is going to actually include your competitive event guidelines. So speaking of competitive events, here are some guidelines you guys will just want to read through. First up, we have our online testing window, and it's actually going to be open for 2 weeks from Monday, March 1st through Friday, March 12th. So make sure that you are testing during that time period. And then next up, you have your Tallow deadline, which is going to be the first day of testing, Monday, March 1st. So you want to make sure that all your submissions are getting in on time. You also want to make sure that you are playing around on Tallow, just to make sure that you know nothing goes wrong before you have to submit. Okay, now onto our testing. So you can test on any platform as long as it meets some minimum security requirements, such as your phone, your laptop, or an iPad or tablet. Your chapter advisor is going to have your login information, so make sure to get that from them once you need it. We do provide accommodations, but just let our state advisor, Mrs. Waymeyer, know ahead of time. And reassessments. We do not offer reassessments. You cannot retake your test. So please make sure that you are ready to test, that you will have minimal interruptions when it is time for you to sit down. And some more about testing. Please maintain testing integrity. Make sure that you know there is no cheating going on, as this could lead to your scores being canceled. And also just give good and reasonable effort. You know, we are still having SLC even if it is virtual. So, you know, just make sure to keep the same spirit as if it was in person. And then finally, again, please maintain testing integrity. Some of your events may allow you to use your books, your notes, or the internet, but make sure that you are reading your event guidelines and checking to see if that is allowed. But again, you cannot talk to any other competitor. Okay, so here's a little recap of what I just talked about. Again, your testing window is going to be open Monday, March 1st through Friday, March 12th. There are a couple changes as multiple events are now one round test only. And again, we have introduced live events that will utilize Zoom, and some of your events will allow you to use your notes, your books, and other study materials, but you cannot confer between other competitors. Your advisor is once again going to have your login information. Please, please, please keep testing integrity, and the most important part is to have fun.
We'll now discuss recognition events. These are great ways for you and your chapter to get recognized outside of our competitive events. First is the Barbara James Service Award. Now, this is for any of you that complete any service volunteer hours that are related to any healthcare cause. This could be volunteering at a hospital or elderly service community, but you need to make sure that it's not something that's already HOSA sanctioned. So you can't like double dip with Be the Match and count those for your Barbara James Service Awards. Now, these hours must be entered onto our HOSA management system, which all of you as students can do. Your advisor will need to go in and approve those by February 15th. You can see some of the award breakdowns right there on screen, but for state recognition, you'll need at least 75 hours logged and approved again by February 15th. HOSA Happenings is a great way for your whole chapter to be recognized. Because of our virtual conference, we will need you to submit this digitally through Tallo. You can see my profile to the right. This is similar to something that you'll create when you submit it. This needs to be submitted by midnight on Monday, March 1st. Look at the guidelines and there will be a rubric on there. You'll need 80 points from that rubric to receive state recognition. Next is our healthcare issues exam. This will test your knowledge over various healthcare news from the past year. Sources include Medline Plus or CBS Health Watch. This exam can be taken by any secondary and post-secondary collegiate members, but not middle school members. The top 10% of these scores will be recognized, and the top scorer will also receive a certificate. Next, we have our HOSA service project. For those of you who don't know, our current HOSA service project is Be the Match. This is a bone marrow registry that people can join by swabbing their cheek with a cotton swab and then mailing it into this wonderful organization. You can volunteer your hours or raise money for this cause, and those all must be on the HOSA management system by February 15th. This is the same platform that you would use to log your Barbara James service hours. For that, you'll need $15 or $75 or 75 hours to receive state recognition, and then you'll need $375 or 375 hours to receive our certificate of merit. Next is our outstanding HOSA achievement. This is a great way for your chapter to show unique initiative in a particular event that you host. You can submit any event that your chapter does that isn't already a current HOSA event. So you couldn't do something related to Be the Match and submit it for this. You can go onto the guidelines for this event and see some questions that you'll need to answer about this event. Your chapter can only submit one event for this event. And that submission will need to be emailed to Mrs. Waymeyer by midnight on March 1st. You can see your email right there, and that could be done by your advisor as well. Finally, I wanted to inform you all about the recognition opportunities for adults that have impacted your HOSA experience. Awards for Local Chapter Advisor of the Year, Educator Excellence Award, and Administrator of the Year are given out annually at our State Leadership Conference. You can go onto our website to find these applications, and those must be completed and emailed to Mrs. Fisher. You can see her email right there. They'll also be on the application by February 15th. So be thinking about some of the people that have impacted your year so far and the amazing things they've done, and you should totally fill this out for those people.
Hey guys, I'm Kristen Leha, your Vice President of Membership, and I just wanted to talk about becoming a state officer candidate. You would make my heart so happy and your heart so happy if you ran for a state officer position. Here I have pictures of the current state officers board and brochure that we had to do. As you can see, each of our brochures were different and really showed our personality, which this is important to be yourself. For starters, if you are applying, which should be all of you, because we all know you are all leaders, you can go to the link I have added in the chat section, or you can go to Missouri HOSA website. Send it a thumbs up in the chat if you are applying or thinking about applying. I'm going to briefly go over the eligibility to be a state officer candidate. Each chapter is limited to 2 state officer candidates. Only secondary student members in 10th grade are eligible for the president-elect position. If you're a returning officer, you may not seek the same office. Candidates must be enrolled as a full-time 9th to 12th grader student that is or has taken a career education course related to health science or currently enrolled in college pursuing the health career post-secondary position. Candidates must have an active membership status in HOSA. Now, I know everybody in here is a current membership of HOSA. I would hope so. So if you are, please put your hands up high because we love HOSA. Awesome. Any student who wants to be considered a candidate for Missouri HOSA state office must complete the officer candidate application, forms, and etc. by the due date. I will go more into this, but this is why it is very important. You need to give yourself time and have it done by the due date. What I'm about to read off is in the state officer packet for those who want to follow along. Your completed application, letters of recommendation, your HOSA advisor will not be included in this, so you can ask your coach, employer, or a different teacher. Your resume and transcripts. This must be mailed in a sealed school envelope. I had just went to the person in my school who I know handles the transcript, and I just asked her if she could seal this envelope and make sure she sent it to the right address, and she took care of it for me. I don't know if that's how it will work for you guys, but I would just ask if you don't know. Your written essay and picture of which have to be emailed. The written essay is a 2-page essay on why I want to be a Missouri HOSA state officer. And I would get personal with this, and that way you kind of put your own twist on it. The rest is signatures and form in the back of the application packet. You will email this to Rachel Fisher. Her email is in the first column. And remember, this is due by February 15th. Next, I'm going to go over the timeline for election process events. Your completed application and written essay, what I just went over, that it will be due first February 15th by Rachel Fisher. Your online written exam is Monday, March 22nd, and this will begin at 9 o'clock, and you must have begun the exam no later than 9 o'clock p.m. And you can refer to the Missouri HOSA 2021 virtual SLC testing policy for details. Along with your written exam, your candidate brochure will need to be emailed to our HOSA state advisor, Mrs. Waymeyer. Her email is also in the first column. Your brochure will need to be 8.5 by 11 and a maximum of 2 pages. These are suggestions, ideas to use for your brochure, which are also in your state officer packet. A picture of yourself, personal goals, and goals for as an officer, vision for the organization, leadership experience, current and previous offices held, awards and honors, hobbies and interests, and resume highlights, things you enjoy, reading, sports, maybe HOSA. Mine would definitely be HOSA. Remember that you are not limited to these ideas. Another idea, for example, would be how HOSA has impacted you, things like that that make it personal. This will be the only campaign material you are allowed to use. Virtual interviews will be scheduled for March 23rd, starting at 4:30. Slate will be announced after the conclusion of the interviews. Slate means that the top 2 president-elect candidates and the top 8 secondary candidates will be moved on. Then the live virtual voting delegate session will start Wednesday, March 24th at 4:30. Those top candidates will be eligible to give their speech. Candidates, please refrain from any political or controversial topics. We highly encourage you to write a speech to read for the voting delegates. This can include your vision for HOSA and why they should select you. In addition to that, you are allowed to campaign only on the app we are using for our virtual conference. We highly recommend that you use this because it is a great way to show your personality virtually and to get to know your members. You can post once a day at the maximum. Grow yourself through HOSA by becoming a candidate for state office. I know I'm glad I ran because of this reason exactly, growth. I've grown a lot, and that was just the beginning. Not only was I growing, but my team was growing too, and we have grown together. Also, I thought I couldn't do this. So going back to see how far I've came, it makes me glad that I didn't set my expectations low for myself, because I was like, listen, this packet's too long. I'm not just gonna get started on it. And I went through it, and my advisor really helped me. She one step at a time, and it really helped. I know the state officers team has something to say about this and their experience also. So let's start with Ben.
Please all stop yelling.
I have grown so much, just like Kristen said, through this experience. I think it really gives you a platform to take initiative and try different things and figure out what works for you as a leader and how you can impact other people. What decisions can you make? How can you serve people as a leader? I think that mentality is so important to have, especially as a future healthcare professional, and something I would never have experienced if not for this position.
All right, so I was a little bit apprehensive at first on whether I should apply or not. And even in like the beginning of it, I was still feeling a little bit nervous, but I'm really, really glad that I did, because I got to meet amazing team of people who are awesome. And I think something that being in this position really helps you with is it like puts you in a position to see HOSA from an outside perspective, like all throughout high school, I've been, a member and stuff like that. But this way you get to see how things are run, and it gives you a sense of responsibility and initiative that you don't usually get. And those skills, I think, have been transferable to other parts of my life. Like, for example, I have gotten a lot better at public speaking, because before this, I'd be so scared about that. But HOSA sort of forces you into those positions, and it makes you a lot better and more comfortable about them. So I'm very grateful, and I'd highly recommend it to anyone.
So when I decided to run for state office, then my main two reasons were to serve and because I loved healthcare. And I realized that being a state officer kind of combined both of my passions into this perfect role that I knew I would be able to do very well. And as everyone else said, that at first it is really nerve-wracking. It's really scary to be in front of other people that you've never met before. But it really teaches you to go outside of your comfort zone. And it also teaches you it makes the mission more than yourself. It teaches you to be more selfless, and you learn a lot about other people, and you learn a lot about yourself. So that's what I loved about it. I am definitely glad that I ran for state office, as like Alex, my public speaking skills definitely grew, and I know I have a long way to go, but it's gotten better. And I just became a better leader. I experienced like great personal growth, and I met a great team of friends. So it really does like grow your passion for HOSA exponentially. And it teaches you how to be a leader and all the aspects that a leader has. And you don't really know much about how things are run until you're a state officer. So it's really eye-opening, and I'm definitely grateful that I am a state officer, and I'm also going to continue my passion for HOSA in college. So I'm really excited about that as well.
Thanks for sharing, team. And for those who are running or thinking about it, now you see what you were thinking. We did too. Start now. I cannot stress this enough. This is an important process, and you need to make sure you are doing your best work in the right amount of time. I know the packet looks long, but take each step at a time and believe in yourself. Ms. Bull and I will be sending out a video soon going through the state officer candidate packet process more in depth, so keep your eye out.
We will now go over voting delegate information. And before I begin, please keep in mind that each local Missouri HOSA chapter must have 2 voting delegates. These delegates will be chosen by the local chapter advisory. HOSA's voting delegates play an essential role at the state leadership conference. Voting delegates become the face of their local chapters as they represent the interests of their individual members. Delegates also have the important responsibility of deciding on the next team of future leaders who will lead Missouri HOSA during the next school year. As a voting delegate, there are important rules to be followed. Delegates are required to attend the virtual voting delegate session on Wednesday, March 24th, 2021 at 4:30 p.m. Delegates are expected to be in their official HOSA attire, black or navy blue suit, or professional attire. And as delegates, it is important to always remain professional throughout the conference, so please refrain from inappropriate language, political references, or any other offensive actions. It is important that all voting delegates download EventSquid, which is a mobile app that will be used throughout the conference. The EventSquid app is particularly special for state officer candidates. On this app, delegates will learn about each state officer candidate, listen to their speeches during the voting delegate session, and vote on the new state officer team for the next school year. This year, polling will virtually be held through the platform Election Runner. And as more details regarding virtual polling options are released, we will make sure to notify all of our delegates. Here is a brief breakdown of how the voting process will occur. Again, the virtual voting delegate session will be on Wednesday, March 24th, 2021, and will start at 4:30 p.m. Be sure to join the conference virtual program, EventSquid, as voting will be located on the app and helped through Election Runner. There will need to be 2 voting delegates from each local Missouri HOSA chapter in the delegate session. These delegates will listen to each candidate give their speeches and vote for the top 4 secondary positions, including the position of president-elect and possible post-secondary collegiates in the running. And for those of our VSLC participants who will not be delegates, you can still be just as involved in the state officer candidate process. As HOSA members, you have the ability to watch each candidate campaign on EventSquid and discuss with your local chapter delegates your opinions in order to ensure that your voice is still being represented and heard.